Welcome everyone to the SIG Network Policy API Subgroup meeting, the SIG Network. Today is September 23rd. Let's follow the code of conduct and be nice to each other today. So on our agenda, there are a couple things to discuss. I'm the first one here. I've already started this discussion on our Slack channel. So I just will try to give a little summary here, and then I'd like to hear your feedback on that. So the problem is around our CI and API versioning. So we have a reference implementation of our API that is not a part of our repository, but lives somewhere else, to be precise, in Kube Network Policy repository, done by Antonio, forever grateful. And currently we are running this implementation in our CI to check our conformance tests. So that introduces a versioning problem, which means that we run some specific implementation version, which lives in its own repository and is versioned separately from our API. So as soon as we add any non-backwards compatible change, the tests do not work anymore. So if we ever get to the point where our APIs are very stable and we only introduce backwards compatible changes, new features, whatever, we could just use that on our main branch and run our conformance tests because they still should work with the new API version on the older implementation. Now, currently that is not the case, and this latest allow to accept rename is basically the reason why this discussion is brought up right now, because I can't merge my next pull request. So what that means, as soon as we make some backwards incompatible change, and we should rename, so currently this change is done just in the API, but the conformance tests have not been updated to do that yet. So as soon as we update our conformance tests, our CI will start failing because existing latest version of Kube Network Policy doesn't implement this version of the API. Now, I think the main suggestion from the Slack discussion, at least, was to introduce the stable versus development branches for such breaking changes. So what I guess is that it means we only run our CI conformance tests on stable branch, and we don't run conformance tests on our development branch. And then the process is we introduce all the changes, I guess, on the development branch. Then Kube Network Policy repository catches up with our development branch changes. At that point, we merge our development branch into main, together with the Kube Network Policy bump that implements these changes. And that is how we always have a working CI. So in that case, the conformance tests that we have, they are only run, well, fairly rarely, I guess, when we do the development branch to main branch merge. Now, does all what I said make sense? And what kind of feedback you have on that? Yes, Surya, I see already has her hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to know what other projects in SIG Network are doing. And
good point.
This sounds complicated for a small project like ours. Like, we're barely able to have enough contributors to maintain the main branch. Now, if we have a stable and a dev and multiple CI lanes, like, we don't have enough resources to maintain a good, healthy project. I fear that. But maybe there is an easy way to maintain this.
Sorry, I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand. You saw my comment on Slack. Why is not the main branch the dev branch, and then you have stable branches?
Oh, well, or that we could also do that. It's still, I mean, the point is kind of you only run like conformance tests on your stable branches, and then your main branch still has to have the conformance disabled, basically, because there is no way to keep up with the main branch.
You can see what the signal is, but one, I'm trying to understand why we're in this situation. We went to V1 Alpha 2, which means that shouldn't be tested because the tests don't exist. And then we have the existing V1 Alpha 1, which didn't change, so that should pass.
Right. So, well, first of all, I think the idea is actually just to introduce changes to the API and conformance test, like, if not in the same PR, then at least close to one another.
You can't do that because it's two repos. So that by definition,
Well, I mean,
has
you
a
don't
little
want to
bit of a-
introduce a new API and have no test to check that, right? Because then you're telling the implementations, go implement my new API, but then the implementation should be able to test that this new API works. Which
well,
is,
I mean,
I
there
also
can be
wanted to,
exceptions, like there's like, as Surya said, there's like a one-time change. We just do a one-time change, it gets back in sync, and then, right, then then we're good. Like,
by good, you
not
mean we
robots.
never ever make breaking changes anymore. And like in the future, we know we
Yeah,
are not
no,
doing
No, but we're
but
not
that.
robots. Like, we can just
Hope we
discuss it.
don't, but
let me
I mean, I know
because
we will, right?
Nadia, I think that the question is in Gateway they tag, and when they tag they add the conformance later. So the thing is that you are defining an API only, and the conformance tests are not meant to gate the existing code, right? They are meant to be something that people should run to be conformance against the API. So I don't think that it's critical for us to gate all the changes in the repo. What is critical for us is every time that we release, the conformance tests need to validate what we release, right?
By
Because
we,
I think
you
that,
mean,
yeah.
you mean the network policy API release?
Right. Is once you
Yeah.
say this is the network policy release and you tag, then the conformance tests need to work because the people need to
Sure.
validate against. So the constraint here is if we want to be very strict on what we merge, and think that what you are advocating for is, oh, we need to gate everything in main. So if we gate and we end in this deadlock situation, I need to update the project to update the test, and then I create backwards compatibility. But if we lose the requirements to merge, to say, oh, conformance tests and implementation need to work for a target release, then it's what Bob is saying is our main branch is the dev branch, and our tag is what means at this point everything needs to work. But meanwhile, you are working and developing, you don't need to gate.
Sure. I mean, that's also another way. I was also wanted to clarify about, I think Gateway API doesn't run the conformance tests. They just have them and they release them together with the API, but I don't think they're running any like reference implementation to check that it does work.
Yeah,
So
I'm sorry, just to
they
take
don't
a
have
step
this
back.
kind
Like,
of problem.
just from a project perspective, I think Surya's point was very well made in that this is a small project. Our main focus is to get to the next milestone. You know, I really hesitate like adding more process and stuff onto something that's not at that milestone. Once it's at that milestone, then yes, we could think about, you know, having like a tighter control. But like right now we're in this iteration phase where we really need to actually get to that next milestone. And it's like, if it's broken for like a day or two, that's okay. We all understand what that means. It's not like we are disappearing and it's going to be broken forever, right? Like,
but wait a second, what are you saying is that we just should leave things as they are and just like merge PRs over red CI, or?
The question
well,
is
what is red?
Right.
I mean, if
What
we
is
leave
red?
conformance tests, and I mean, currently they're running against the latest main branch, right? That's the whole point of it being in CI. It should run against the latest repository API, but it can only
But
use the older.
Right, so we should fix the CI, but every project has some moments where the CI is mismatched with the code, right? When you're like
you can,
migrating the CI or you're doing some major change. Because like,
right, so then there are two options. You either
wait,
have
hang on,
a
Nadia.
red CI, no?
So you cannot gate
what is the end state?
on
Sorry, Antonio, just give me a second. What is the end state, right? We might transition through a red CI state, but our end state is not a red CI. The situation you're describing, that's like the anti-pattern, is you transition into the red zone and you never leave, right? But like, that's not the plan, and that's not what we're doing. Does that make sense? Because the danger of having red CI in many projects I've seen is it never leaves red CI, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, so I'm just trying
like
to figure out what exactly you're suggesting. So
In
That
2
sounds-
months, like,
you suggest
would we still be in
new
red CI?
CI?
No.
Let me, because I understand what you're saying. And the thing is, it's not about red CI. Is you need to define what is gating your code in pull request. And what we are saying is there is an intermediate state that we cannot gate the code. So at that point, or we decide to leave the test failing, or we ignore the test, or we disable the test until we reach a stable state again. Because we are not gating anything. This is a development of an API, and we run a conformance test, and we have another project that runs this conformance test. So there is going to be one point in time during that things doesn't catch up and the tests are going to fail, but you cannot gate in something that is unstable. So you're not merging things in a red CI. You're merging things in an CI that shouldn't be running. No,
Okay, wait a second. So we all agree we want to make our progress to better. That is clear. The question is, what do we do about current CI state? I think you're saying
I think,
that
like,
introducing new branches is like too much overhead. So that means we want to leave just one main branch where we make potentially breaking changes, correct?
yes.
So
At least for
then,
now, because it seems like
yeah.
we're only going to be out of sync by a couple days, right?
Sure,
Like, we're
I'm
not
just
gonna
trying
leave it
to
red for, like-
outline the current suggestion because I have written down the other option here. I want to just write down the alternative, right? We leave one main branch. That means if we leave current conformance tests in our CI as they are red. We probably don't want that. So the only other option to leave only one branch and have green CI is to either disable conformance tests or pin it basically to the existing previous API version, which doesn't make much sense to run.
I don't understand
pull request.
what we're doing then.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not, at some point you will just bump this version and we'll test some next one instead of doing
Right,
a periodic
okay,
job,
so-
but it doesn't make much, well, yeah.
Okay, so like, it just sounds like we're going to get to the same place, but we might have to do extra work.
Well, extra work compared to what?
Compared to just not doing anything and then just fixing everything up as soon as possible.
And do you mean by fixing everything up as soon as possible is like we go and update Kube Network policy implementation as straight away after we introduce the API changes?
Yeah, exactly, yes. Because that's the point of it.
Okay, so you're suggesting for every breaking change, we
Yeah, you
introduce
have
the
to
API
anyway.
change. Wait a second, I'm outlining the process so that we're all on the same page. We do the breaking change in the API only, as basically you've done now, and we don't upgrade the conformance test. We go to Kube Network policy and we update it to implement this latest change. After that, we can go back to our own repository, update the conformance tests, and bump the Kube Network policy version that implements now this new feature. And that's how we have a green CI.
That sounds
that the
reasonable to
process?
me.
Sure, I mean, as long as we all agree.
You can commit the new conformance tests on either end, right? You can since CI will be broken anyway, you can add the new conformance tests before.
No,
you
wait
have
a
to
second.
code that
CI is not
implements.
broken in what I've just described.
So, sorry.
Because your conformance
think
is running at a different version compared to your API. So conformance tests are bumped separately based on what implementation can actually implement right now, basically. So conformance are running against the latest implemented version of the API.
Look, I think like we can debate the like this means that. At the end of the day, right, there's two repos. You can't atomically commit to both. So either one goes first or the other goes first. And then it sounds like we have some breaking changes. So then we just have to accept that we have to do some kind of coordination between the two, which might result in some redness. But at the end of it, like in 1 week, we probably wouldn't, assuming we do all these things, it's like a non-issue, right? It's like past.
Yeah, they
And we're
tricky
not
part
making
here
any
is to
announcements to
keep
say, hey, go pick this
CI
up to everyone.
green.
But like, what's the consequence? Like, we're
Yeah.
not going to get stuck.
I
in the
think
broken space.
overall, Bowie's point is this only applies to the next month, right? And then we'll be done with all the breaking API changes. We
Exactly.
don't need new process for something that's just going to take 1 month and then it will be done.
Are you saying
Yeah,
that we are going to
huge
have
plus
beta
one.
released in the next month because we are not even done with V1 Alpha 1? Well, Alpha
No,
2.
even if that's not the case, my hope is that we wouldn't have such big breaking API changes to this point.
Okay. I mean, I would
We
just
need to
honestly
push
think
and
that we
move. Like,
would,
this
but
is
that's
not the
fine.
time to like get stuck on this kind of stuff, my opinion.
Yeah,
Like,
but
it's way better
just
for us as a project to like be able to move.
Yeah, it's just to reach an agreement. So the agreement seems to be we merge, we merge the API changes, we update the project, and we fix the original repo, right? These 3 steps.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tricky, but that's kind of what we've done already, right, with Antonio, because basically that's what I did with cluster network policy. I just did the API changes first, and then I had the work in progress PR to update the conformance tests. So when Antonio implemented the API change, I was able to run the conformance tests because they existed but were not merged yet. So I did that manually to make sure that the code actually works. And then we updated that. And now I am at this stage where I'm stuck because another breaking change got introduced in between. We could do that
can't we
again
just
for every
merge?
breaking change. That's okay.
Well, wait, so, but isn't that a case of just you have to rebase?
No, currently
Or-
the CI is red, right? Currently we are running conformance tests on the latest API that has a new accept word that Kube network policy doesn't understand, and it can't pass the tests.
Okay, but then we can just fix Kube network policy.
So yeah,
Or just
exactly.
make the
Now
change
we
there?
are like kind of back to this stage again because
Okay,
another
then let's just
breaking
fix it.
change was there. Yeah, then now we need to go update this and then go back and update the conformance test, but basically for 2 breaking changes now, I guess, at the same time, because I can't merge them separately anymore.
Okay, I mean, this seems eminently doable. It's just like a list of things to do. So then just fix it.
Yeah, I never said it's like unacceptable. I'm just trying to reach an agreement here so that we all agree that makes sense, because as you can see, it's a slightly tricky process. So just want to make sure it makes sense to everyone. And again, that was just a suggestion from Antonio and some others in Slack, so I figured we should discuss that. Okay, well, I mean, as I told you, I've done that already once, so we can just do that again, I guess. And then again with the ports changes, at least. And then we just hope that never happens.
So let me just understand, like, if you have a pre-release version, the problem is that Kube network policy has to vendor the API, right? So you have to get the API in some form, and then Kube network policy has to implement it, and then you bounce back with the conformance test. Is that the main
Yeah.
issue? Well, we could have like a preemptive release of Kube network policy that's like not on its main branch. I don't know, like.
I mean,
it just
for Kube network
it just
policy
seems
to
like
implement the API, the API has to be merged to somewhere. And then I do the API merge.
Can't we
I
just-
can't update conformance test straight away, right? So that's the process.
It uses the generated code, Bowie. You need the types, the Golang types. That's the part.
Yeah, like as long as we can get the changes in within a day or two of each other, like maybe even just have the PRs both reviewed and ready, and then just try to merge them all in rapid succession.
Yeah, and then we also need to
I'm just trying to
see if
avoid
we
like
need
having to like copy stuff everywhere.
What does that mean? Copy stuff?
Basically, it's like you have to copy something to a different branch to get it merged, and then get another branch and then merge, and then like and then like reference each other, and then just like put it to the main branch. It's like, it seems like a lot of work to just go around the fact that we'll just in the next few weeks have to iterate a bunch.
The only thing that gives you the branch is a fixed vendor in place. The otherwise the pull request is a branch itself.
Yeah.
I
And
think
again,
that
it's exactly so. This
works.
process is exactly what I have just done for cluster network policy, and you have seen all the PRs that are included in that, right? So you do the API change first only without conformance changes, then Kind Antonio or one of ourselves do the kube network policy changes. Then test them again, the pre-existing, hopefully conformance test updates, make sure it works. And then we also here, we had to tag a new release. Considering that we may need to do that more often, maybe we don't need the kube network policy release every time and we'll just tag it with the commit or something. Oh no, we'll need the images.
It's mostly a
for-
policy decision for Antonio's Kube Network Policy API, implementation. If
No,
you're
I
willing
think
to be
to be
bleeding
able to
edge,
deploy it, you need to
Yeah,
have
yeah.
released images somewhere.
No,
right?
we can
do
build.
it.
Assign that to me. We can try to build from master images. Assign that to me. If that
Mhm.
simplifies the thing, and I can see if we. I think that I already have that. I need to verify that every time that I merge, I publish the images in a staging GC whatever. I need to talk with Ben. So we can
Yeah,
use
actually not from the
that.
master branch, but probably from some commit. I don't think we also want to consume master branch just in case something.
Yeah, you
breaks.
can
yeah, you
consume
can
master
basically
branch.
publish on every commit or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly, that's what I'm-
if that works, that solves the one of the turnarounds. So assign that to me, and you can use master branch in that. Okay, perfect. Good. Thank you, Bowie and Nadia. That's really helpful.
Okay, awesome. So also considering we have almost done that, I'm like close to merging that one. The process is more or less understood, I guess. Okay, so I was just trying to write down the last piece, which is we hope to not have too many breaking changes.
Okay, so Antonio, I'm going to do the change with the accept allow like right now. Can I vendor in the Git hash?
Right. You can vendor in, and then once you merge that, if we publish the images from the master branch with the tag, then we can use that in the CI, and then automatically you will be testing the new changes. So we save one step. We make a 3-step process in a 2-step process. So that's a good litmus test. Okay, let's get this done, and that will be awesome and simple.
So do you want to get this piece also straight away merged, the building from the given commit versus from the released images?
Yes, because network policy
because-
network policy API is a separate repo, so I don't mind following the master thing. It's what the goal of the project is, right? Is to provide this.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is we'll need to update our CI commands with
No,
whatever.
that's the question, Nadia. I need to check
Yeah.
if the CI can reference the latest, right?
And that's the question, do we want the latest? Because referencing the latest of anything is kind of dangerous.
No, and that's with other projects. This project cannot be dangerous. If that fails, I fail. Yeah, no, because
Okay, I'm up for latest then.
if that fails, this project fails. So I need to check. I have this in Kainet. I have a tag that means the latest, and then you can reference that, and it keeps moving.
Okay.
It's called stable. So it's not the latest,
Yes.
not the latest, but it's practically that. Okay, I
Yeah,
need to
okay,
do that.
let's
And
do
we
that.
test with changes, and if it works in a 2-step thing, that's awesome.
Yeah. We are currently using your like install CNP or something, basically YAML that you have in your repository. So as soon as you update that one to use the stable branch versus the tagged image version, our scripts should be like automatically picking that up. Make sense?
So I just did the change in the repo. It's like a 1-line change far as I can tell, or maybe not. Anyways, Antonio, I'll send you this PR, but I just pulled in
Yeah.
head from network policy and then like did make and whatever test.
I need to talk with Ben. He has some mechanism, Ben and Justin, to do this kind of things with tagging the latest, and I need to check with them how they're doing. And I update the C, and I need to update the network policy API CI to pick this latest image, and then we test with your vendor your change, and it should work automatically. Okay.
Yeah, again, like this is just temporary for these next few weeks, right? And
No,
then
but okay, if we use this to implement this, yes, we save
I
time.
know I'm saying to Nadia, like this is a transition where we have a certain trade-off, which is we need to kind of move this.
Yeah, so that's this part. We hope to not have too many breaking changes. For now, we don't know exactly when we're going to get to beta, which is where we can't have breaking changes anymore. So that's the hope. Based on this assumption, this is the process we find the most optimal. And then we'll just see how that goes.
Okay.
But for now, yeah, until Antonio figures out this latest tagging, we need, well, hopefully that happens pretty quickly, and then I just update our scripts to do that. And then please let me know. I'll update my hanging pull request here. There are already people complaining that it doesn't work. So I'll just update that and tag the latest Cube network policy version. And we'll merge that, and we will be, and then I'll switch to the docs update.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm starting to do the docs updates.
Yes.
Like,
which is great.
That okay? Like, do we want to? Are we waiting for something, or like I just?
No, this one can be totally. I just reviewed that. I think Dan reviewed a little bit. Otherwise, we can start merging that part. That's not blocked on anything really.
Okay, I will respond to the comments and merge that because I'm going to update the rest of the docs.
Ooh, yay. That's awesome. We love people who update docs. Okay, well, all right. Sounds like a plan. Let's do that. Yeah, and then after this one is merged, I don't know, Bobby, if you're in progress of doing the ports format change. But anyway,
yes, I'm going to do that.
On the topic
soon.
of docs, do we think that there is value in having versioned docs? Not for V1 Alpha 1 because that's gone. I mean, in future, do other projects do this versioned docs?
They do,
for any...
but I think we should think about doing that just by checking out the repo as specific version and then just generating the docs and like copying it somewhere. That would be my preference.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Fortunately,
I don't know. I don't know the mechanics of how to do that. Well, I guess. Sorry. To be clear, my high-level point is maintaining like multiple versions in the same repo. It seems to me like a nightmare.
Yeah.
But so I would rather just check it out a particular version and like generate it. That would be my preference.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that's the mechanism as well. I'm hoping people don't keep multiple versions of docs copies in the repo, but let's see.
Yeah, because when you go to edit it and you try to like do mass search and replace, it's going to be like so confusing.
For sure. So for now, we are like in our docs, just pretending. Well, I will add actually an update and a little blog post explaining what's happened with the previous API versions. Otherwise, it will just talk about the latest cluster network policy one. Okay. If there are no more questions on that topic, looks like we're all in agreement and have a plan. We'll go to the next topic from Dan.
Yeah, so just wanted to say, so we had this vague plan that we're going to announce something about beta 1 at KubeCon. Are we getting closer to having an idea of what that is? Like that beta 1 will be ready at KubeCon by the end of the year, by 1.36.
Is that a discussion we wanted to have a little later after I think the first milestone was for now to cut the V1 Alpha 2. Well, actually somewhere in the middle of October or something. And then based on how successful that is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we don't know yet, and we're okay with that is an acceptable answer to the question.
I think we should shoot for the minimum bar is V1 Alpha 2 is highly likely to be the beta, if not the beta. I guess the message should be, if we don't get to the beta, is that if nothing else happens, V1 Alpha 2 will be the beta. Having said that, I would love to get all the way to beta.
Yeah, I think I would also just vote on mostly speaking about these changes that we have agreed to do, right? Even though it was like an interesting discussion because we have been advertising our 2 APIs for a long time, and then we were thinking, well, I mean, even though it's alpha, it's still not an easy decision to break it in any way. So maybe just kind of focus on that in terms of like our way to beta 1. And then, yeah, say, okay, we've decided to do this and that. These are the current changes. That's the V1 Alpha 2. Yeah, and then with saying that we kind of hope at your level of confidence to get it to get it to beta. Okay, sounds like a plan, I guess. Do we have any, well, I know we kind of discussed the timeline for V1 Alpha 2 somewhat. Was it like mid-October? I'm not sure if
21st.
it's written down. 21st of October. 21st. Oh, well, okay.
Do we have the project board? Should we just
there is
go to that
did we set
after
it
you're done with
there?
this?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, project board, exactly. So I was trying to figure out if it looks like we're gonna make it. I just don't know exactly where the date is. It's on the label, I think. No.
So let's see, in progress, combine. So the combine, is that one done? Or is that?
No, the conformance tests are not merged yet.
Okay, how do we get the conformance? Is it to update
Yes, with what we've just discussed with all the accept allow updates. So this PR is like reviewed already a couple times. So yeah, it's just waiting for that one.
Which you will merge into your PR, or it's actually waiting on the.
No, you will.
Antonio's
so you will make the changes. Yeah, whoever makes the changes for allow to accept, and the new version of Cube network policy, I will bump it here in this pull request to make sure the CI is green again because now it's red. Yeah, so that's everything that is tagged for V1 Alpha 2. Thank you, Surya, for posting this one. So we have more protocol support, which I think, Bowie, you are assigned to that. So that's and we've discussed last time, that's basically the biggest piece of work for now because we kind of haven't really started yet. I mean, we do have our desired YAML.
Yeah, I will send something soon, but I'm looking at Antonio's repo.
Mm-hmm.
It still has admin network policy in all the tests. Should I also fix that, or?
The problem was with there is a bump there is a mismatch in between .33 and .34 with a dependency on the generated code. So you need to bump in network policy API to 34 because there is this diff. I don't remember the name. It happened in there is an server-side apply dependency that breaks the compatibility between .33 and .34 generated code. So
Okay,
we
I'll
need-
send a PR and then maybe we just talk on there. It's easier.
Okay.
Yeah, let's figure it out offline.
Yeah, okay.
all
I'll
right,
figure
so
it out.
that is the next priority, I would say, right, Bobby? I think you will be working on that in the next couple of weeks. So we'll also should make sure to review that, I guess, as soon as possible when some PR is up. So please also maybe ping us in the Slack channel so that we don't miss it when it's ready. Next one is this changing allow to accept also kind of will be done. I think it also, did it already have a docs update in the PR itself?
I sent the, I will do the docs update.
Yeah, okay. So the conformance update will be done together with mine because it went in before, and the docs update needs to be done, then it's done. Now this one we've already discussed, just waiting for the accept allow update and then a couple more doc updates that are all assigned and will be worked on. Oh, and these are basically the subtasks of that. So yeah, this is all tracked. And that's actually all we have for V1 Alpha 2. If something is missing, please make sure to tag it with a new milestone. But I
Okay.
think that looks kind of correct.
So I'll be pinging on Slack as soon as I have some of that stuff ready.
Okay, sounds good.
And I will just be going through the docs updates probably. Like if no one is going to take it. So just let me know if you're going to take any of those.
Yeah, I've assigned to myself, I think, one part of it. Something mentioned here, which is not a subtask. Yeah, so I will update this part, and I think you are already doing the user stories, and
I
then
redid it.
you can also
Yeah.
do the overview resources, which is another piece that's missing. Yeah, and otherwise, I mean, you probably also can focus on this protocol support, which is a lot of work, and docs will like find someone else. I think Sean wanted to work on docs maybe later. So
Okay. I mean, I'm happy to just move things forward faster. So
sure, as long as you have time for all of it, we are only happy.
yep. Okay.
Okay, Surya, can I ask you what do you mean that the test gaps that are needed for beta? You mean this like conformance to do things that we have?
Right, like this entire
Yeah.
board is tracking beta, so
Yes.
we should get the V1. I think that's what we discussed last time, that we'll get the V1 Alpha to cut and then revisit the beta. So
Yep.
before KubeCon, I think that's highly unlikely, but I think we agreed on what we want to announce, and I'm on the same page.
Yes, sounds right. Okay. Anything else for today? If not, then thank you all for joining. It looks like we've made some nice decisions today. So let's see how much progress we can get. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks all.
Thanks.
Bye.